This is Training My Tree Monitors, Part 4, The Illusion of Freedom. So now that we're starting to get into roaming, I want to take a few minutes to discuss safety. First things first, we need to discuss outlets. You want to plug up all of your outlets with those little plastic safety things, all outlets on walls, in your power strips. Get them all plugged up. Early on, I did not have all my stuff plugged up, but later on, I did get them all secured, and I put all my power strips into little power boxes so that they couldn't even be walking around on those. Next, you want to go around with a heat gun and check anything that could possibly be too hot for them to be in contact with, and make sure they don't have access to that. You see my guys all the time on the Ackie enclosure. None of those lights on there are too hot for them. So if you're doing the same thing, you want to make sure none of yours is too hot. Any other places you don't want them to get to, you want to barricade off. Entrances to other rooms you don't want them getting into, or just little nooks and crannies and stuff that you don't want them to get behind something and then never come out. Think of those things, go around, prepare. I didn't really do much preparing. I was a bit loosey-goosey. Everything did end up working out for me, but that's not to say it's going to work out for you. So finally, do not attempt this on your own at all. I'm just going to say that up front. I am not responsible for anything that ends up happening with you or your animals, because I'm telling you right now not to do any of this. I made all the decisions I made throughout this process based on watching my animals specifically. I don't know anything about your animals or your situation. If you do make the decision to do something similar, that's on you. Uh, I would just say that I laid out the roadmap for you. You see how my guys are behaving at each stage. If your guys aren't behaving the same way at this stage as mine are, don't even attempt it. So with all that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and start it. So in this first clip, you can see Ajax is up on this chair that's sitting in front of his enclosure. His enclosure door is open. When I said in the latter video that I let them go, that was not hyperbole. This is how I eased him out to be able to go out and roam. It was up to him. He was free to come and go as he pleased. I had set this chair up in front of the enclosure, and today I chose to feed him with just to let him get in the cricket box and hunt around if he wanted to. Again, everything I'm doing here is the illusion of freedom. It's his choice if he wants to come out. It's his choice if he wants to get in that box and chase those crickets around. Here, this is an offer. I'm just seeing how getting a feel for how this is going to go with him. In mind, this is only his second roam, and this is taking place on March 3rd. So we are literally like 7 days since first contact. So here you can see I'm starting to talk to him more.
There she goes.
So you're going to hear me refer to him as a she, and that's because back at this time I thought Ajax was a female.
There she goes.
So he's hunting crickets, and if
nice.
I could go back, I would have this chair a lot closer to the enclosure, like right up against it, so where he could climb in and out. Likely I was sitting in it earlier in the day, probably doing some type of movement acclimation from like you've seen in the previous videos, and that's why it's that far back, because I was sitting in it. So we've got another half dart that's going to be coming up because my dog's coming from underneath the table. And Ajax doesn't have a clear view of him through this plastic. It's going to spook him. Plus, Ajax has food in his mouth. Once again, he pauses and looks back. Now, this is like the sixth or seventh example of this I've shown. This is always the case, and I see this all the time in other people's videos of their monitors. They make this mistake all the time. Always freeze, remain still. They will always look back. They will figure it out for themselves that it's no big deal.
You're fine.
And so here comes the dog. Ajax will see the dog and be like, oh, it's that dumb thing, and he's just going to go back to doing what he was doing. We are a bit later. I'm realizing that it's a mistake to have him in there in the first place, because he can barely see through the box and he's having trouble getting out. So I help him back into the enclosure, and he walks off with his cricket. If you ever use something similar, make sure the box is right up to the door to where he can get in and out very, very easily. Look at that tail. See how it was totally straight? He's completely calm as he walks up to his perch to go eat his cricket. Now watch, you're going to see a little tiny territorial loop in his tail. See, this is the difference between territorial and butt puckering. He's not scared, but now that he's up at his perch and he's about to eat his meal, nobody better come fuck with me. Little bit of a spiral territorial display. And that's most likely for Kale's benefit and not mine. I don't know where Kale is right now. He's probably asleep. Here we are a bit later. You might remember this clip from the ladder. So this is the day he was behaving this way. Again, this is only like 6 days after initial contact, 6, 7 days. Get what I said before? And I'm pretty sure the door is open again, and he's free to come and go as he pleases. But again, like, I'm not leading him to the door or anything. And it could have been 10, 20 minutes. This was just sitting here open. Again, this is the illusion of freedom. If he wants to come out, he can come out.
She wants to get back in this box. Wonder if she'll jump. Wonder if she can make that jump.
And I'm trying to be as standoffish as possible. This is all about him and his decisions. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just filming it. This is all part of how they became so comfortable outside the enclosure, because I let them go explore it and figure it out for themselves.
She's gonna climb down.
You might remember this clip coming up from the ladder video where I said I set them free. Again, that was not hyperbole. He's literally free to do what he wants. And also, I want to point out that by me being in the area while he is freely roaming around, he is learning over time that I am not going to stop him from doing this stuff. So it's, again, it's more illusion of freedom. You'll also notice that I'm not talking to him. That's because I'm not following him, and he knows where I am right now. We got another short dart coming up here. Gonna hear my dog knock something over. Again, quick dart. Looks over to where the sound came from. Oh, it's nothing? I must be mistaken. That shit happens over and over. Every time it's a little less dramatic to him. Here he is figuring out how to get up onto the Yaki enclosure. Again, you never want to take them to some place they're not comfortable with. You want them to explore to that place first before you ever take them there. Before I started dropping them off at the Yaki enclosure, they had both made their way there many times, and they preferred that place. Oh, upcoming is a longer clip of the dog.
She's gonna jump on his back.
Do you remember this from the latter video as well? Look at that, little butt pucker. Goes right away as he starts moving. He's no longer worried.
Nah, don't make that jump.
So I was worried he was gonna fall into the bin there. That's why I was worried about that. Because if he fell in there, that would have freaked him out for sure. You're gonna see my other dog here in a second. It's literally the only time she ever showed any interest in him, and because this is the first time she's seen him out of his enclosure. But she's not after him, and he's fine.
We'll go in there. You're gonna get stuck.
So you see I'm continuing to talk to him from time to time. If I was following him around, I would probably be talking to him in a soft voice nonstop, just so he knew where I was at all times. Just watch his behavior. This isn't as bad as you would think it would be. As long as they're already pretty calm and you're not fucking with them during this, they're really chill. And I tried to keep this entire roam as intact as possible, so you get an idea of like how long these things take place. And yeah, way later when he's like more comfortable here, he comes out for longer periods of time, but this is literally like less than probably 10 minutes this whole roam that he does here. And you're actually going to see how I get him back. And this is literally the second time he's been out here, and it's really not hard to do, as long as they already trust you. And again,
Okay, so
the
she's gone back there
the
before.
letting them
She's
see you
gonna
for a
climb up
long
top, I'm
time
sure.
previously, it's important. I'm going to say it again and
There
again
she
and again and
goes.
again.
Let's see if she'll come to me. You want to come up here?
This offer is so bad. I should not have done this. He literally just got here and he is now falling in love with his favorite place in my living room ever. And here I am trying to throw an offer into this situation. I should have let him get comfortable up here, and it would have been a lot easier to get him back after that. And there you can see the little spiral in his tail. I can't tell at this point if that's a butt pucker or if it's some type of, oh, this light's mine now, and it's a little bit of a territorial display. It doesn't look like a butt pucker to me, so I would assume this is more of, wow, this light's really comfy. Nobody better come and mess with me here. So here comes the offer. Listen to the noises that are messing with him here.
Come on.
You hear that knocking and his immediately scared reaction to it? So that's my dog, who's very old, trying to sit down in front of this enclosure, which is sitting on like an armoire type thing with sliding doors. And so he's bracing against it as he's sitting down, so it's rocking the entire enclosure. So that is going on while I am trying to make this offer. So all things considered, I think that this was a really good uh, offer and acceptance, especially for this is literally the second time I've had to get him to come to me so that I could put him back into the enclosure ever. You can see here there's a tiny butt pucker as he's walking up my arm. If you want to rewind and look back to right before he's getting on to me, his tail is totally straight as he's making the decision. But as he starts walking up my arm, you'll see the little loop appear. That's the butt pucker. Again, it just means he's a little unsure. It's nothing to worry about. It's going to be normal. You're going to see it all the time. Here we are later in the day. Again, this could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes later. Who knows? Here he is coming back out of his own free volition. Now I'm literally sitting at my computer desk. So I'm trying to show you guys as much as possible throughout this whole process, and I will continue to do so. Again, I feel this step, the illusion of freedom, is very important. It's going to impact things later on. The animal needs to feel like he's free to do as he wishes. Keep in mind when I say things like that, I'm speaking only if you're trying to do with your monitors what I am doing with mine, which is basically trick them into thinking that they are free to do as they wish, and I am just here to help them. You can use what you want from all this.
Man, that bitch can climb.
They really can climb. There's nothing on that chair that he can get his nails into. That's like covered with like that really soft finish on furniture. He's literally climbing that by holding his arms together really hard and using his tail. These dudes can climb anything. It's crazy. He's going to fall here. I mentioned situations like this in one of my previous videos. When he falls a couple feet, he's going to pause for a few seconds, check, make sure everything's okay, and then he'll just be fine. As long as you don't make any reaction and he doesn't have any danger around, he'll be fine. And that was my bad. That chair should have been closer to the enclosure so that didn't happen. That would have been a really good experience for him to have going back into the enclosure by himself. Again, it's important for them to figure things out on their own. Watch here. He's gonna investigate these little boundary things and watch. He's gonna end up with a little butt pucker once he decides like what this is. He's gonna be like, okay, yeah, this is kind of weird, but again, it's all normal. And so coming up, you're gonna see me get him off the floor, I believe. So pay attention. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get down low, and I do actually kind of get in front of him. Normally, I try not to corral them in any way when I'm trying to do offers. But again, this was like really early days, and also my laundry room is that way, and I definitely don't want him to go that way. Uh, Later on, I end up barricading off that walkway, but here it's wide open, so I think I am going to actually get in front of him. But see, I'm already down really low. I'm on the ground, and I'm preparing for him coming into this area. I'm being very careful. See, he's not getting scared or anything. His tail's still pretty good. Yeah, put the hand pretty far away from him. He's not going for it, so I move it a little bit. I am corralling him, but again, this is early days. It's more important that I can get him back up and back into the enclosure. Again, when I'm doing something that's super important like that, I'm usually not going to be filming because I'm more worried about doing it right than I am on getting it on tape. So I'm very glad you saw this on one of his first roams ever, how I did it, because you probably won't see too many of those in videos coming up because I would shut the camera off and I would focus on getting it done. Here he is climbing on my head as I was trying to return him to the enclosure. And now you see it's easy process. He walks right down my hand. Little puff up there. I don't know what that was. Maybe he saw Kale. And you see right there, was a territorial display on his tail. Now here, this is something I do with them too, at least once a month or so. I bring them out in this butterfly carrier, let them get some natural sun. But so this is going to be the end of the video coming up. I hope that this has some stuff in there that you can use, or you just find my story interesting and you want to continue to watch Ajax progress this way. Again, this all took place on a single day. Several runs, all initiated by Ajax himself. He came out all alone, did his roam, came back to me. I was able to put him back into the enclosure. This is 7 days after the first day interacting with him. I hope you can kind of see. I tried to include as much of the run as possible so that you can get an idea and understand that the illusion of freedom is very important to the process that I am trying to complete here with him. He just had 3 fully successful runs, all of his own volition. That's the key here. He came out by himself, did a roam in the living room, didn't have any issues, was returned safely to the enclosure by coming to me when I asked him to. We're getting back into that repetition, repetition, repetition. This is behaviorally conditioning him to perform this again and again and again. The more reps you get in, the easier and more calm he's going to get throughout the process, and then it's just going to become second nature after a while, and he's going to be a lot more forgiving with small mistakes. And again, everything builds off of everything else. When you see my videos of my monitors today, it is because of all of these things. All of these steps matter. Now, you may want to do something else with your monitors. That's fine. Like I said before, use whatever tools you want. And thanks for watching. And I hope you get something out of all this.